Okay, let's look at another formula. And we're going to look at a perimeter formula. And if you remember, the perimeter is the distance around something, the distance around an object. So if you have a rectangle, it has a certain width and a certain length. And two of the sides will be the width and two of the sides will be the length. And then when you add up all four sides, you get the perimeter. So perimeter. Okay, if we want to use a formula to figure out a perimeter, we're going to need to use variables. So we can say P equals perimeter. So P is going to represent perimeter. W would be the width, and then L will be the length. Okay, now how would we find that? Well, P, the perimeter, is going to be when we add up all of them. So you could say, if you start here, you could say, well, P equals W plus L plus W plus L. Or we can simplify it and say P equals 2 times the width, because we have two of them, 2W, plus 2L. And then if you're given a situation where you need to find the perimeter or you need to find the width or the length, and you're given two of the other variables, we can solve for the missing one. So let's look at two separate problems here. We're going to look at, if I said the perimeter of my backyard is 120. So if I say the perimeter is 120, and I know the length is 40. What is the width? What is the width? I need to find the width. Okay, so let's use our formula here, and then I'll show you on our little picture how those numbers would fit in. So we want to know what the perimeter or what the width is. That's what we're trying to find. We know the perimeter, so we can write 120, and I'm just going to plug it into our formula here. The perimeter is 120, so 120 equals 2 times the width. We don't know the width, so I'll just leave it as 2W, plus 2 times the length, and we know the length. The length is 40. So we have 120 equals 2W plus 2 times 40. Now let's rewrite that as 120 equals 2W plus, well, 2 times 40 is 80. And then I can subtract 80 from both sides. Remember, if you do something to one side of the equation, you have to do the same thing to the other. So the 80s cancel out on this side, and you have 120 minus 80, which will give you 40. So you have 40 over on that side and 2W on this side. And I'm going to rewrite this up here since I'm running out of space. So 40 equals 2 times the width. And then we need to divide both sides by 2. The 2's cancel out. And you're left with W equals, well, 40 divided by 2 is 20. So the width is 20. Now let's check to see if we did that right. If we look back up at our picture here, the width we found was 20. 20. So both sides of the width are going to be 20. And then length was given. Length was 40. And if we add up all of those, we should get the perimeter, which was 120. So let's add those up. So we have two 20s, so 20, 20, and two 40s. The zeros add up to 0. And then 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8, plus 4 is 12. So 120. So that should be our perimeter, which it is. Okay, so we checked our answer and it checked out. So I'm going to say that the width is, in fact, 20. Okay, so that's another example of using a formula. Now, what if you were given two of the other variables? Let's go up here and do another one with two other variables. Let's say I don't know the perimeter. All I know is the width and the length. Let's say the width I know is 15. The length is 20. And I want to find the perimeter. Now you could draw a picture and label it and then add them up, or we can use our formula, which was P equals 2 times the width plus 2 times the length. Okay, we don't know P, but we do know what the width is and we do know what the length is. So let's rewrite the formula. 2 times the width, which is 15, plus 2 times the length, which is 20. So now we get 2 times 15, which is 30, and 2 times 20, which is 40, and 30 plus 40 will give you 70. So the perimeter should equal 70. And we can draw a picture and solve that if we want. If you have the rectangle here, it's not perfect. And we want to label it. The width was 15, so 15, 15, and then the length was 20. And we can add those up. 15 plus 15 plus 20 plus 20. So 5 plus 5 is 10. So you bring down the 0 and carry the 1. And then 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, plus 2 is 7. So the perimeter should equal 70, which that's what we got. The perimeter is 70. Okay, I think you should be getting a little bit of a grasp on how to use formulas. Some formulas are harder to use than others, but the main point is if you have a formula and you're given all the variables except for one of them, you should be able to plug in what you know and solve for the unknown one.